this time together, maybe run about an hour, and really get a new mindset. I mean, total paradigm shift. I know for me, when I met Judy and John and began learning from them, reading this book, I just felt my brain like tilt. It's like in a new place. And I feel like I see things about what God says about financial success in a new way that cannot be taken from me. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I've been a Christian for 40 years, and I feel like now for the first time, I really see it. And it's really been incredible. So let's go ahead and pray. And then I want to introduce my special guests for today. Again, those of you joining me, I'm Donna Parto, and excited to welcome you to this special New Year's Day. You may be watching it later, but we're recording it live on New Year's Day, January 1, 2021. Good riddance to 2020. Hallelujah. Lord, we thank you so much that your word is practical. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Bible says more about money than it does about hell. So this is a huge issue in God's kingdom. And so, Lord, we thank you so much that you are going to bring fresh revelation to your people. I thank you that this isn't a book. This is a movement. And I pray right now for those listening that they will have ears to hear what the Spirit is saying to the people of God about the importance of stepping into your provision and your wisdom in the area of finances. So without further ado, I am so excited to welcome our special guest. This is John and Judy O'Leary. And Judy has a background in health and nutrition. She's super fit. She's going to share a little bit about her background and her career. John is a successful business owner. He's got a paint company in Michigan, and they've got a brand new book out called Financial Success God's Way, Millionaire Secrets to Overflowing Wealth. Welcome, you guys.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. And you ran away from home and you're hiding in a cabin in the woods, right?
Yeah, we are. That's correct.
You're in northern Michigan?
Yep, in northern Michigan, up in near Petoskey, Michigan. It's a beautiful area.
And everybody knows right where that is. That's been on my bucket list forever. But there's
like 25 miles from the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh, okay. Everybody's heard of Mackinac Island,
yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I know you put your hand up or something and you find your way around Michigan. Isn't that
That's right. That's right.
Okay. We're trying. Well, I want to dive right into your story because I read your book. I know it sounds cliche. I literally could not put it down. It is so refreshing. It's so engaging. It's so compelling. It's such a now word. And you guys are enormously successful now. God has blessed you. And I know some people are probably even intimidated. Like, oh, Judy, I guess you're Millionaire Secrets. Oh, I guess you're just all that in a bag of chips. And, your parents probably came over on the Mayflower and you went to like a she upscale, you were homeless.
That's right.
Take us back.
With three little kids. It was as if I fell from the sky and landed in Lansing, Michigan. And the first year, I was a single person with a broken heart, 3 kids, no job, no money, no education. And within 4 years, I was a millionaire. And one thing that I did set it all in motion, and it was giving.
You got to say it again, because I just cannot let anyone miss what you just said.
Yep. I did one thing. I did one thing, only one thing. And it set the whole course of my life in motion. And it just put me on a new path. And within 4 years, I was a millionaire, almost to the day. And it was a very exciting time for me because things were happening really fast. And I was living under an umbrella of favor. And wasn't born again yet even. And I didn't know what was causing it. And once I learned what was causing it, Then I started doing it on purpose.
Amazing. And I think the reason why God has done such an incredible work in your life is he wants you to be a living example. It is so tempting for people who are struggling in their finances to make excuses about why, I can't give, I can't even pay my own bills. But you tell a story in the book, you literally gave all you had. Tell us that story.
That was my widow's mite. I was a single mom with 3 kids and living in a new town in student housing. I got every loan and grant I could get so I could rebuild my life. And I didn't know anybody. One day my daughter told me she wanted to go to church. So we wandered into the campus church. It was a Catholic church. And when offering time came, I turned my purse upside down and I shook it. And the change was rolling down the pew and the kids were really embarrassed. They were saying, Mom. And I gathered it all up and put it in the basket. And I remember saying to the Lord, I'm so sorry. This is all I have. And I put it all in there. And then one day later, things started moving and shifting under my feet. And I just got put on a conveyor belt to a fast track to a new life. And what ended up happening was I went on a field trip because I was a college student. We went to this brand new, beautiful, state-of-the-art athletic club in town. And it was amazing. And the guy who did the tour, his name was Chris Johnson. He was amazing. And so I said, I got to get my foot in the door there. And the next day I called and asked if I could have a job. And he said, we're a new company and we don't have a budget. And I found myself blurting out, okay, I made $700 that year. I was living by the skin of my teeth. And I found myself blurting out, I'll work for free. You don't even have to pay me and I'll do any job. And he said, can you start Monday?
This is such an amazing story. I want to back up. I've read your book and I know your story and I still got choked up. I got tears in my eyes of you emptying out that change and the Catholic basket coming by and apologizing to God that was all you had, but you gave him everything that you have. And it's just so convicting to me and probably to a lot of people listening, because 2020 was a year that a lot of people said, well, we're just going to have to put giving on hold. So many business deals didn't come through. So many things I was counting on didn't happen. So I'm just going to have to scale back on my giving. But I just know a lot of people right now are deeply touched by that vision of you emptying out your purse. And what I love about you, about your message, about what you're bringing right now is how practical it is.
Right.
I mean, so you were majoring in like nutrition and all that. So that was like what you wanted to do. That's where the direction you're heading as a career. And that's the other thing I love about you guys is that you're not like religious people sweeping into town saying, if you want God to give you money, give me money. And I'm like always really, it's not that. This is guys, you need to get this book. This book rocked my world and it's going to rock your world because it's so biblical and practical. So anyway, so back to practical. So this is the next day after you dump out.
Yeah.
Okay. So the day after you give God everything you've got, you go to this brand new state-of-the-art gym. And that's what you want. You want to be like a gym person, trainer, nutrition expert.
That's right. Okay. I saw that he was carrying and he was walking in where I wanted to go.
That's it. Everybody needs to stop right now. You better have a pen. You better have some paper. You need to write this down. She gave to God, and the next day he positioned her to see someone in the natural who was going where she wanted to go.
He marched him right by me.
This is why, like the Jersey girl, when I'm in that, like, I'm an old Presbyterian, so I'm like all skeptical and stuff. And John, I promise I'm going to get you in a second. I'm like skeptical. Like these people get up and say, "Oh, give me $1,000, and next week God will give you $10,000." I'm like, can't be rolling my eyes. I'm like, come on, that crazy name and claim it stuff. That's all phone. They're phonies. And this, what you're sharing is so biblical and so practical, because you don't want to be, you want it to be in the nutrition field. You saw someone in the career, in the path, in the calling, in the destiny that you saw for yourself. God positioned you for an opportunity that really, this is the thing. Was it Thomas Edison who said, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work?
Yeah.
It is like so many
Right.
Christians, like they'll put money, maybe they do give, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, Jesus just dropped some cash into my bank account. But that's not what happened for you. God showed you a possible open door that really was work. So tell us what happens with this story.
That's so good, because I think when you give, the next thing that happens is some sort of instruction. And I think people expect the answer to come. There's going to be money in their mailbox, or it's going to fall somehow. But it usually, for me anyway, comes in the form of an instruction, or an opportunity, or an open door, or a divine connection. And my part, I feel like my part after I give is to keep my ears and my eyes open and to be expecting something to come across my path.
Amazing.
Either for me to sow into, or usually the way God works with me, I sow.
So
Every time
we're getting to the part where John comes into the picture. So you offer to work for free. Now, does that sound like, that's not God dropping money out of heaven. That's a door, but you recognize it. You work for free. Tell us what happens next.
Okay, so when I said I would work for free, that was my seed, because I didn't have money. I couldn't pay him enough to let me work with him, but I could offer my services. And so I did. And the whole time we're working, he's having me collate papers for him. And I'm reading all these papers about everything that I'm the most interested in. And he's talking to clients, and I'm sitting with him, and I'm taking notes, and I'm learning. And then when it came time to hire a personal trainer, there I was positioned for the position. But even before that happened, I was only there 2 or 3 weeks, and he said, hey, one of my friends is interested in you. Woohoo! And I said, is it John? Tell him I'll go out with him. And
John, tell us now we want to hear your version.
Well, look, can I go back?
Yes.
What's amazing to me with all this is that it all starts with a seed of some sort. So you start and you talk about, this has been a tough year and people don't have anything to give. And I understand that, but that's a farmer standing out in his field saying, I'm not going to plant anything this year. I'm not going to plant anything. And I just hope that something's going to happen. That is it. And I can pray all I want, but if he doesn't plant any seed, he's not going to get any harvest. And that's exactly like 2020. If you're not going to plant, I don't think you're going to get a harvest. And we can pray all we want, but if we don't give God something to work with. And so what I love about that story is we share that story with young people about how she said, I'll work for free. And young people go, oh my, that's queer. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to work for free. But they don't understand that was a seed, and it was a seed that she reaped an enormous harvest from. So that's what's the amazing part of the story to me.
This was my biggest harvest.
No kidding. I mean, you got a handsome success. You got the career, your dream career. You dumped out your purse. This story is so incredible. The whole world needs to hear this story. I'm telling you. Single mom, 3 kids. You had been through hell. I mean, we're not going there, but okay.
I was broken and broke.
Broken and broke. I mean, just end of your rope. Total devastation. But
I wasn't
poor. Purse. Dump out your change purse. The next day, God shows you an opportunity. You recognize the opportunity. You walk through the door. You get the career you want. You get the handsome husband, happy marriage. How many years later is it?
25
years. I mean, I want people to get this book, Financial Success, God's Way. By John and Judy O'Leary. It's so much more than just, I've done Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey. I've done Crown Financial Concepts. I've done all of those things. This rocked my world. They told me to get a budget, and This,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, is rocking my world. Now I want to get back to John because
Okay.
you're a business guy, you're a practical guy, right?
Yeah.
And this gorgeous blonde, shows up. And of course you fall in love, and all of a sudden she's up in your business with your business, telling you if you want to succeed, you got to give all your money to
That's
the
right.
church. So you've got an amazing story in the book. And just let's be real, okay? Just like, okay, she's gorgeous, she's hot, she's beautiful. Now she's messing with my business, telling me if I want to be successful, I got to give all my money to her church. I mean, just be real and tell us what happened.
Her toughest client, her toughest sell was me, because I fought her in the beginning all the time about saying, if we give, we won't have. And she continued to say, if we don't give, we will never have. And so this was an ongoing battle. And I'm the doubting Thomas. I'm the guy that all these things got proven on. One by one, slowly but surely, it began to seem more natural to me. It began to seem so obvious. There's not a farmer in the world that wouldn't plant seed if he wants a harvest. I began to own it. I began to really see the beauty in all of it. And as so many of God's principles, they're so simple, they're so brilliant, they fit into all those categories. So
I the big stretch. You share in the book the big stretch about the bridge. Tell us the bridge story, because that, I think, was a turning point in your life, right?
It was. So we had these battles on a smaller front along the way, and we'd split the battles and win some, lose some. But the thing was,
won them all.
That's probably true. But I wasn't getting the message. So we had an opportunity at church, and it was they were doing an expansion, and we had an opportunity to sow into this expansion, and we agreed to do it. And Judy decided on this one she was going to completely stay out of it, which was good news to me, because now I can take care of it, right? I can come up with the number I want. It's the number that I can handle, and that's what we're going to do. And there's not going to be a big fight. So in the couple days before we are supposed to give, the Lord puts a number on my heart, and he was wrong. I can't tell you why the Lord was wrong. The number was crazy. And I argued with him and said, that's a dumb number.
Like he put an extra zero.
That's right. He's
happened.
talking to somebody else.
Mhm.
Move over a house. You missed the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And so we had this debate for a couple days. And I just knew, and because the number didn't make sense, because I didn't know how I was going to fulfill that number. There's this coming up and that coming up, and I'm doing all the natural things. When it comes time and we're at the event, I end up writing the check for what he told me to. And the ushers came along and they pried the check out of my hand. I think there was 2 of them that wrestled the check out of my hand. So I was obedient. I wasn't cheerful. I wasn't wonderful. I was obedient.
Okay.
And I sowed it for a seed for a large account that we were after. And it was a very large account. And we had been working on it for close to a year. Now it's 4 or 5 months later. We've planted the seed, and it comes time for the account, and it's narrowed down to 2 companies, and they give it to another company. And I was sure we were going to get it. And it was a state bid. So,
honey, did you name your seed for this?
Yes, I named my seed for this account that we had worked on. So I come home and I'm really distraught. We didn't get this account. We worked on it for a year. We were so close. I really thought we had it. And I'm whining and moaning. And by the way, how'd that whole seed thing work out?
Oh, yeah.
Right? How about that?
Hey, Judy, why don't you try the couch?
That's
your turn.
My wife stands there doing her nails like this, saying, it's not over. And I go, oh, no, it's over. They've awarded the bid and this one's done. And she says, well, you work for a big God. You don't know that. I said, no, I know it. It's over. They called, it's done. And then I proceeded to take the next 5 days and walk around the house, whining, moaning, and crying. Okay. Now it's the 5th or 6th day. I think it's the 6th day. I'm at work and the state calls and says, we aren't comfortable with the way that the other companies presented themselves. And the long and the short of it is, if you'll still honor your bid, we're going to switch and give you guys the contract.
Unbelievable.
Never heard of that. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never heard of that. And I light up and I think, oh my gosh, I've got to call Jude. And then I think, oh my gosh, I've got to call Jude, right? It's time to eat crow. So I call her up and I tell her this unbelievable story, and she's same thing. She never had a doubt. Now I'm convinced that in those 5 days that I walked around whining and moaning and I think God was going to turn it over in 3 days. But Judy talked to God and said, no, let's let him twist a little more. Let's let him twist a little more. But
what an incredible story.
What came out of that story is it was positioned so I knew that I knew I had nothing to do with it. Amen. God reached so far into the fire and pulled the victory out. He wanted to make sure I knew it had nothing to do with me and all to do with him. And that was a turning point for me. That was a turning point.
An amazing story. And again, so practical, what you guys are sharing.
Can I say one thing too?
Yeah, I want to ask you.
No, we are not special. We are not ordained ministers. We're everyday Joes. And if God can do it for us, he can do it for you.
Well, I'm going to argue with part of that. You're very special.
Oh, thank you.
I know that you're very special, but I hear what you're saying. You're not, again, that's what I find so refreshing about you guys is the balance of it's totally biblical. The guys need to get the book because the scriptural examples, I cannot believe I've been teaching the Bible for 40 years and never saw this. But now that she's shown it to me, I see it everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want you to talk specifically. You mentioned something that a lot of people, I didn't know what you were talking about when I read it. And so I want you to talk about two things. You said something about naming the seed. I've never heard that. So maybe clarify that. But I want you to talk about this whole concept of what you call upward giving. Again, another thing I never heard. So clarify what you mean by naming the seed. And then what is this whole upward giving? How did you stumble? How did you learn that? I've never heard of it, really.
Okay, well, in the Bible, there's a story about Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Well, there's a story about Solomon, and he gave 1,000 burnt offerings. And that very night, God came to him and woke him up and said, Solomon, what do you want? You forgot to name your seed. You gave 1,000 burnt offerings and you forgot to name it. So he came to him that night and said, this was a substantial offering and you forgot to tell me what you wanted. Nice. Because when we give, we give God something to attach our faith to. And so when you give money, especially, money is kind of neutral. So when you give money, you can name it. You can say, I'm sowing this seed for a new car. I'm sowing this seed for the bridge account. And there's another story in the Bible, the woman from Shunem. And it's in, I think, 1 Kings. And the woman from Shunem, she and her husband were well off. And every time the prophet came to town, I think it was Elijah, she would house him and feed him. And she treated him like a son. And it kept happening every time he came through town. She would feed him and house him. And then she built a room onto her house just for him. So he had his own little apartment. But she never asked for anything. She was sowing all this seed. And so one day Elijah was like, I can't get her off my mind. And he sent his servant, go find out what she wants. Because she's sowing and sowing.
Really good.
And she said, I don't want anything. And Gehazi said, well, I know she doesn't have a son. And so I said, next year at this time, she'll have a son.
So he named it for her.
Your man of God can name your seed for you.
Wow. Yep. This is really good stuff. Maybe there's some wings of the church that talk about this, but I've never heard this at the Presbyterian church. And it's
Donna, until she named her seed, she got no harvest.
Really good. And you share a lot of these examples from scripture, and it's really, really incredible. You know, John, I think this was probably one of your stories of, you know, people that you mentor, and like, it's not always money. I think, wasn't there a guy you told him to like go mow a lawn, you know, for somebody who had the type of business they want, that type of thing, like Judy did with her job.
So yes, we had a young couple that asked us to help them mentor them, and so we were working with them, and they were an unusual pair because if we said we think you need to go stand on your head in the corner, that's what they would do.
I love
Whatever
it.
we gave them to read, they would read
Amen.
and all that. And they began to get the message of you need to plant a seed. Well, they're young, they're just married. They don't have, you know, money. That there's so many ways to sow. There's so many. So what they did is they began to come over and he would mow my lawn. She would pick stuff up at the cleaners for us. If we had a party, they would come over and work, you know, helping the cleanup, help do this. We would be going to the airport and they said, let us take you so you don't have to park a car. They did so many things for us like that, that planted seed in our life. And then through that, they also got to be with us. We got their heart, they got our heart. And then that causes us to want to put it, you know, give our connections to them. That seed that they put in us through their works and they're helping us open doors for them that we were glad to open. And the only reason we had them is because we're older, we're mature, we know people, not because we're smart, for God's sakes. We've walked the path. And these two were smart enough at a young age to realize they didn't know what they didn't know. And there's two ways for wisdom. There's mentors and there's mistakes. And that's the only two ways I know to gain wisdom, mentors or mistakes. And they chose the mentor route, and they're wonderful kids. They're doing outstanding. And
So they were 21 and now they're 30 and they're very close to $1 million in assets. And when we met them, she was a student and he was working for a cell phone, not a cell phone company, a cell phone. So he was worked at doing lawns and his boss paid his cell phone bill.
Wow. Incredible. I love it. And the whole idea is, you know, to kind of start where you are. I want to, where we at? Oh, we're good. We're about halfway through the hour. I want to mention a couple of things. Number one, get the book. I mean, as of today, you can actually get the Kindle version free. I mean, that's crazy. They're sewing this into this move. This is a movement. It's not a book. It's a movement of upward.
I love it when you say that.
No, God said that. I didn't say that. God said that. This is a movement. And you can go to donnaparteau.com/million, donnaparteau.com/million, and it'll take you right to Amazon, right to the page where you can get the book, Financial Success God's Way. Millionaire Secrets of Overflowing Wealth. I definitely encourage you, get the book. And what I would really encourage you to do, yes, get the Kindle, but if you get the paperback and sew into this movement and sew into yourself and take a picture of yourself with the paperback book and post it, you can post it right there on that Amazon review page. You can post it on social media. What happens to the first 50 people who take a picture of their fabulous face holding up the book?
They get a coaching session with us, a group coaching session. And out of the 50, I think we're going to pick one to do a private coaching session.
Amazing. That is so awesome. And I know just the time that I've spent with you, it's changed me. It has absolutely changed my mindset. It's changed my outlook. I am definitely not a millionaire. Tamara, we've got someone on the screen. Thanks. I'm not a millionaire, but I am. Thank you guys. I'm a millionaire in the making. And we've actually, I know you guys haven't got it together yet, but you're going to work on some swag. So people can get like their morning mug, and their morning mug says, I'm a millionaire in the making. And I love you're saying is like, I'm a millionaire in the making, something for the kingdom. What is that, your little thing?
On a mission for the Great Commission.
Yay! I can remember it. I'm a millionaire in the making on a mission for the Great Commission. You know, that's me. I want resources, not because I need a big house or a fancy car. You guys know me. I live in a just very humbly. I don't even have a car. I ride a bike. I want the money so that I have complete freedom to go anywhere in the world that God sends me. You guys know I'm moving to the Middle East in August for 2 years to focus on my work with the Arab Daughters of Deborah, and I'm getting a master's degree in Middle Eastern studies. And I don't want to think about money because money doesn't matter. You know, money is just like a tool. I guess what the Lord showed me is that money is his way of telling me that I'm doing a good job of helping his other kids.
You know, Donna, we think of ourselves as distribution house. It flows in and it flows out of us.
Yep.
And the better job we do, the bigger that distribution house gets. And we enjoy to share a part of that, but our job is to move it. If he provides it one way, we've got to move it out the next. And as we do that, we're blessed by it, but there's great joy that comes in that too. Can't explain it, but there really is.
And it leads me to the next question I actually have for John. And I want to mention one other thing besides the book. You're going to do a 7-day millionaire challenge, and they can go to wemakemillionaires.tv, wemakemillionaires.tv. That's where you will be able to, there's a direct link to buy the book. There's a direct link to join the Facebook group, free Facebook group, where there will be a free 7-day challenge. And this isn't going to be one of the 7-day challenges where like the whole thing's a sales pitch, because they're not selling anything.
None of it is. We're not selling anything.
For 7 days. This is really them taking 7 days to pour into you and to invest in you and to sow into this movement. So you can go to wemakemillionaires.tv. You'll see their bio. That's where we're going to have the replay of this interview is going to be posted there. It's a link to the book. It's a link to where you can get into their Facebook group for the 7-day challenge. And also that group would be a good place to post your photo with the book. So you'll be one of the first 50 to be part of a group coaching experience. And one of those will be have a one-on-one coaching. So that'd be really, really cool. I want to ask you, John, what do you look for when you think, and then I'm gonna like do a confession and ask for like personal counseling that I need help with, because I think some people listening are really going to relate to me. I sowed all my seed into bad soil. Like all of my, like I at one point had made a lot of money selling I sold 1.5 million books. I mean, even accidentally, yeah, it was some money. And all of that money, all of those resources, I gave it to like dysfunctional people who were like in drug and rehab and like gave away houses, gave away free rent, bought people cars, like all of the money went into bad. And I kept saying, God, why aren't I being blessed? Because I heard a little bit of this. I'm like, I'm sowing seed. And God's like, you put all your seed in a toxic waste dump. You put all your money into
That's so good.
people. Or guys, listen to me, because I need help. And I think I speak for a lot of people. Like I thought if I had money, I should use it I used it to enable people, like especially, anyway, I'm not going to say anymore. And then the other mistake I made was when I did try, well, maybe I should, God said, stop sowing into toxic waste dumps. I'm like, well, I'll find some rich people. And I had a multimillionaire couple, and you guys know this story because I confessed it to you in tears. I did about $50,000 worth of work for them over the course of a couple of years. And right after I did the final project, they hadn't paid me. They're like, we're going to pay you, going to pay you, going to pay you. You'll get 50% of it. 2 weeks after I finished the last project, they notified me that God had told them to end the friendship and end the relationship. And they never paid me. So I sewed into that. And then I worked for a billionaire. I worked for 9 months. And I didn't check the character. Like I said, oh, well, they're rich, they're successful. And I ignored kind of the character warnings. So help a sister out, help the people out who are saying like, we tried to sow, we gave money to the panhandler and to our brother who's never holding a job. And, all of this, like, we're not getting it. Help us, John, save us from ourselves.
You want to go first?
I want to say something first. You remind me of the prodigal son.
Uh-oh.
Because you took your inheritance, all your money, and you wasted it on riotous living. And that's what the prodigal son did. He was giving it all his friends. They were partying, whooping it up, and drinking and celebrating. It was all downward sowing.
Totally. I'll tell you, I would go out to restaurants. I always had an entourage because I was pretty famous as a speaker. There'd always be an entourage with me. Guess who paid the bill every time for everybody? No wonder everybody wanted to go out after church, because I paid the bill for everybody every time.
What happened when your money was gone?
Well, that was the end of all the friendships. So save me, rescue me, and the person listening who's made that mistake.
So I did some of the same things.
Thank you.
As a Christian, I'm supposed to be helping these people, but I finally woke up to the fact that I have a responsibility to do some of that, but that's not where I put my seed, because that is bad ground, and I'm not going to sow into bad ground.
Right.
I'm supposed to give to the poor and help, but that's not seed for me. I'm not planting seed there. I'll give them the edges of my field, right? But I'm not going to give them the core. That's not it. That's safe for sowing upward. And I think too many of us give them the center of our field instead of the edges of our field. And that is, don't miss the message. We're supposed to help the poor. No question about that. But that's not where we sow seeds.
Right. That's not sowing. Don't sow into them.
You're rocking my world. Give them the edges. That's biblical. Give them more. Give your dysfunctional family members. Let them.
That's right.
But it doesn't
just that you're not sowing.
to them. It says leave it for them to glean.
Oh my God.
Because poor does not mean lazy.
That's right. There are poor people that are millionaire mindset, and there are rich people that have poor mentality mindset. So there's plenty of people that we talk to and that we know that might not be millionaires yet, but they've got a millionaire mindset. And I have no doubt that they're going to be millionaires because they have the right mindset. They believe they're going to be millionaires, and they're looking for biblical principles to follow. Listen, there's plenty of unsaved people. And they said, well, why did these guys do so well? Well, if you really study a lot of them, they're working a biblical principle. Whether they know it or not, they're working a biblical principle. And God he's no respecter of man. If you work the principle will work for you, whether you know it or not.
That's right.
And I can point to some of my successful friends that aren't necessarily religious, but I watch and I can tie saying that's a biblical principle that they're working right there, whether they know it or not. And God is a respecter of that. It's the law. It's the law.
Good. It's so good. I'm telling you, I so believe in this message that you're bringing. I really, it's life-changing for me. And I know it's going to be life-changing for so many people. And I don't know what it is about the anointing on your life, but somehow, like some of these things I've kind of heard like a little, kind of dipped my toe in the water a tiny bit with. But it's like, now I understand what you're saying at such a heart and level. I'm really excited for what this is going to mean in my life. And I want to get that I'm a millionaire in the making swag. You got to get that going. And I know that you guys aren't there yet, but I really hope and pray that a day is going to come soon when I know you said you want to make like 21 millionaires in the making in 2021. And if God will make a way for you guys to begin doing that and offering that, like in some kind of a program, like people can sign up and get on board and get under your mentorship and get under your tutelage. I just think it's so needed, so powerful, so incredible.
Donna, you already get this. You know you're supposed to reach down and pull people up. But in the same token, us, all of us, we're also supposed to reach up and reach up to the next level and help pull ourselves higher too. So we have a responsibility to be pulling and tugging both ways, right?
Oh,
and when we look,
this is so good.
I think a lot of people get to a point where they think they're just responsible for trying to help somebody, which is wonderful. That's wonderful. But you also have a responsibility yourself, because you've got to reach up and keep reaching higher, because he's got more for us.
Always more.
We're supposed to be a big distribution house to pour through. And if we stop growing, because there's people that are so much smarter than we are, and we want their input, we want to learn. We want to.
You guys love to be the smartest person in the room one time when it's not just me in there.
But
no, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Even just right there, what you shared. For me, it's like, oh my God, because all I ever do is reach back and help other people who want to be where I am. I don't really have anybody in my world who's trying to help me get where they are. Other than Tamara, my business partner, Tamara Aragon. She's like the one person in my life who financially, she's where I want to be, and she's pulling me forward. But other than Tamara, praise God for her, and God, what
Yeah.
she's trying to drag me forward. And that's why I love what you're sharing. And this is a word, I'm sure, not just for me, but for other people, that if all you're doing, like all I ever do, is reach back and try to pull people up to where I am, that really, it does. It takes a toll. You need to be well balanced, like the scripture says.
That when you sow into other people that are where you want to be, that are at another level, that amazing things happen and new doors open. And you asked earlier about that. And I think our best measure for that is when we're sowing into someone upward, our best measure of that is, where's the fruit? Let me see their fruit. And if they've got successful fruit, I want to sow into that, depending on what it is. So that's how we really judge it. Where's the fruit? And there's some people that maybe you want to sow upward for your marriage, that somebody has a very successful marriage, or somebody that's a very successful business person. And because they're a successful business person doesn't mean they have a successful marriage. But that doesn't mean I don't want to sow into that business part of it. I just don't want any part of their marriage. And so you can sow for different areas that you want to sow into, where you want to climb. And you have to be discerning, saying, I don't need that part. I just,
And that's why you do this, the name the seed thing, where you say, Lord, I see that this person, this gym owner, coming back to your example, that gym owner, that's my dream. I want to be a personal trainer. I want to use my nutrition degree. I see myself working in this brand new state-of-the-art gym, go in that direction. And the young man you gave the example, mowing your lawn, driving you to the airport, investing in you, because they saw in you like the total package, a successful, godly couple, and they want it to go in that direction. So it's sow where you want to go, sow up to go up. And the other thing that I've been confused about, that, you guys are really helping me get clarity, is like, if someone sows into me, well, I don't need you to do me a favor. I don't need your money. So don't give to me, because I don't need your help. And that's like totally the wrong mindset. Like, people should not sow into me or into you because you need it. They sow in, you sow up because you need it. Help us understand that.
That was good.
Can I tell you a story about that? Because you're absolutely right. You're not sowing into somebody because they need it. They don't need it. You need it. That is the soil you've picked. You recognize it as fertile soil, and that's where you want your seed. They don't need it. They don't need it at all. We were at church one day, and a guy pulled us aside, and he brought his little girl, and he was going through a divorce, and he has a little 6-year-old girl. And we're sitting at a table after church, and he talks to us about wanting to go up, and he hands us a check, for $6.43. 43 cents. He handed it to me, and it broke my heart. He's got his little girl there. You knew that this was this was a big seed. And I can't take it. I can't take that, because he's sitting here with his little girl, and we need it like we need a hole in our head, right? My wife snatches the check from him and starts praying over him. And we leave, and we get in the car, and I said, Judes, I can't do that. And she goes, how arrogant are you? That isn't for you. That is for him. That is him being obedient to what God told him to do. And there's going to be a harvest for him. Don't be so arrogant to think that that was for you. How dare you? Well, that was really good. And it was really, really hard for me. But it woke me up to the fact that that isn't for me. He's being obedient to what God's told him to do.
Guys, this is so...
That was a hard one.
I would take someone's last nickel. I would take their last penny.
Because you got the handsome husband. You gave God you gave that little Catholic church. You gave that little Catholic church your last little change. And you got the handsome husband, and
he doesn't drink,
marriage,
he doesn't
and the
smoke,
grandkids, and the life you want. Woo!
Let me just tell you how great this harvest was, because I brought 3 kids into the marriage. They're our kids now. We don't ever use the word step. They're ours. And John completely took them as his own. And we weren't born again. We were both Catholic. So a year after we were married, we got born again. And then we started living God's way. But even before that, he was a good man. But anyway, my son just had his first boy and he named him John O'Leary. Now, do you know any stepson that's done that? It's amazing how they honor him and love him.
Well, you guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely amazing. That is a harvest.
That's a harvest.
I do want to clarify very quickly, it's in the book, but I want to make sure I cover it here because this has been an incredible 45 minutes and we'll keep going to the top of the hour, is that this isn't a substitute for your tithe. And you guys emphasize that in the book. Your tithe, that goes to your local church, right? Wherever you're being, this is not the tithe. This is offerings. This is the above and beyond. Do you want to just kind of clarify that a little bit real quick?
Well, you should do it, but you have to understand that you need the covenant, and the tithe is the covenant. So go ahead.
That's right, honey. Okay, so John and I didn't have to get married. There's no law that says if you want to be together, you have to. But there's a covenant. There's a covenant of marriage. And if you want the benefits of the covenant, his name, his inheritance, you got to have a covenant of marriage. Well, tithing is a covenant. It's not a law. When people say they're not under the law, they don't have to tithe, I feel sad for their heart. Because if Jesus would have said that to us, you guys are a bunch of sinners, I don't have to come down there. He didn't look at where we were. He loved us, and love always gives. That's what John 3:16 says. God so loved that he gave. And so if he would give us Jesus, and all he's asking us for is a dime out of every dollar, but really what he's asking us for is a covenant. He wants to be connected to us. He wants us to take his name, and he wants to be put in charge of our money so he can protect it from the devourer.
Awesome. Awesome. It's an important clarification. And I know, the people who are here today, they haven't read the book yet. And I didn't want I can't imagine anyone not getting the book. Get the book, donnaparto.com/million. And that'll redirect you right to Amazon, where you can get a copy of the book, Millionaire Secrets. I'm sorry, Financial Success God's Way, Millionaire Secrets for Overflowing Wealth by John and Judy O'Leary. Get a copy of the book, read it, devour it. The number one thing I'm seeing in all the reviews on Amazon is, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down. And I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. I picked it up, read like from sentence 1. I'm like, I can't put this book down. It is so powerful, so life-changing, so incredible. And but I know that people tuning in maybe now, they've not read the book, and I thought it was really important that you make a distinction in the book that this upward giving and this sowing and all the things that you're talking about now, these are the offerings. This is the above and beyond. This is not like you're going to, rather than giving 10% to your local church, that that's your storehouse, that you're going to give it to somebody else. So I thought that was really an important clarification. I've got so many other questions.
Well, the tithe establishes you in the covenant. It establishes you in the covenant, and it circumcises your money. Then from there, if you want to go higher, then you go into offerings. Offerings begin at 11%.
Okay. Everybody write that down. Offerings, upward giving, all the great, amazing revelation that we've had today. It all begins at 11%. I want to share one quick testimony that I saw in your Facebook group. And if people want to find their way, which they should, to your Facebook group, it's called the Millionaire Challenge, right?
It's called Financial Success God's Way. And the Millionaire Challenge is what we're doing on the group starting January 11th.
Okay.
And I think no charge for it. We're sowing into you.
I love it.
You know what? The book is, I think for the next 2 days after today, it's free as a Kindle.
It is.
So we're not even asking for you to buy our book. We just want to get the information out so that the body of Christ will be equipped, because we're tired of the wealth being in the hands of the wicked. And I think God is too. And it's about to be transferred to the just. And so we feel like this book is an on-time thing, so that when the wealth transfer comes to you, that you will understand how to keep it, instead of letting it slip through your fingers.
Instead of being the prodigal Donna, giving it to everybody I know in rehab.
Well, Donna, the good news is the prodigal son was smart. He was smart. He came to his senses, and he came back to the father, and the father ran to him, and he got reestablished right away. But the good son was the dumb one. The good son wouldn't give a penny to anyone. The Bible said he never even had a goat with his friends. Nothing. He lived in
Wow.
his house, a millionaire, as a slave.
Woo!
He didn't understand sonship.
This girl is
He
good.
was a
I'm telling you,
slave.
people better pay attention. Better pay attention. So I
Yeah.
wanted to give one quick example that was posted into your Facebook group, and people can find their way to your Facebook group if they go to We
The public
Make
group.
Millionaires, We Make Millionaires.tv.
Yeah.
We Make Millionaires.tv. That's where you'll find a replay of this video. You'll find a link for where you can get their book. It's free right now on Kindle. In a few days, it'll be regular price. If you get the paperback, post a picture of yourself with the paperback on
We want to
social
see your
media,
face.
your gorgeous face, or underneath in the review section, write a review, post your picture. The first 50 people to do that will be part of a group coaching call. And John just told you they're not going to spend all their time helping people who want to get where they are because they're moving up. So yeah, I would not miss this opportunity. I'm going to get that paperback and I'm going to put it up with my face. Believe me, I'm going to be on that call. I'm going to be on that call. And also on that We Make Millionaires.tv, I think I mentioned you'll see the replay. You'll see the link to the book. You'll see the link to the Facebook group. And that's where they'll be doing the 7-day millionaire challenge beginning
January 11th.
January 11th, 7-day millionaire challenge. No catch, no kidding. They're not trying to, hoodwink you into anything. It's just they're sewing into you. It's a free gift. I wanted to share one testimony. A woman, I think her name is Renee, shared that a guy overseas started donating $1 to her, like $1 a month. Did you see that little post? He was sewing $1 a month or $2 a month, all he had donating to her and work that she was doing. And, fast forward X number of years later, she now supports a ministry that he started for the tune of, it's roughly $200 a month. So just an example of someone who only had $1 or $2, but they sewed it upward and God's blessing them. Do you have any last thoughts? I'm shuffling through all my other questions.
I want to.
All my other questions I want to ask you guys.
I want to tell a story about how I came to write this book.
Yes.
Because I've been following Donna's ministry for 4 years, I think, and she keeps offering all these classes. Some of them are free, some of them are a little bit of money, and so I've been taking them, and I thought, I've never sewn into her. So I looked online so I could sew into her. She didn't even have a giving option on her page. And so I went on PayPal and I just sent her money. Then a couple of days later, I thought I'm going to set up a monthly donation for her in perpetuity and just take care of her every month. And because she's such good ground, I was so amazed by what she is walking in. I want that. So, but she had closed down her nonprofit and she didn't know I was giving.
Nope.
But she put out an email and said she was going to pick 10 people and help them write a book. And I got picked. So the upward giving worked, even though she didn't even know that I had given to her.
Incredible.
And
You're
because
the first person.
it's a law. It's a law. And so God is my source.
You did your whole book from idea to launch to number one in multiple categories on Amazon. You made it out of 8 million books on all of Amazon. You reached 263, and I'm going to be running some paid promotions. I'm going to try to get you into the top 100 books on Amazon. So that seed that I didn't even know you were sowing has really, and now I think this is a movement. I think this is
your followers already know. Our friends love us the way we are. True mentors love us too much to leave us that way. Donna, you are the great encourager. We would have never gotten this done without you. So thank you so much.
We're just trying to figure out a way to keep you in our lives. Our lives have transformed in the last month since we've met you. You are our miracle soil for right now.
Wow.
You are our miracle soil.
And you're a miracle for me. I mean, it's just so amazing. I was very reluctant I was supposed to be living in Israel right now. And I was supposed to move last August. And I'm like, I'm sitting here. I know I'm moving next August. What am I supposed to do between now and then? because everything I was supposed to do was canceled. Everything I was supposed to do was I was supposed to go speaking in Brazil and Portugal and here and there, and everything was canceled. I was going to go back to Colombia. I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? And I don't even know how it came to me. I'm like, you know what? I think I've only got a short amount of time, but I think I can help 10 people. And so I put up a little video and I said, I'm going to help 10 people launch their book. That, you know, that I know how to do. I know now when I make all the money on the books next time, I'll be smarter with it. But I do know how to write books that people buy and are changed by. And what I loved about working with you guys, so teachable. When I told you, dumb idea, dumb title, dumb cover, don't do it. No, no, no. You're like, oh, okay. I mean, you just were so teachable. And it was just, it's been such a joy to work with you. I so believe in you guys. I so believe in this message. Guys, what John said, everything that you said, I'm going to listen to this over and over again myself, but just so much of what you said. Really
I think the book is all about being a farmer and teaching you how to be a brilliant farmer. That's what I think that the book is really about. Yes. That we're all here to plant seed and grow from it. And that's what I really think that the book is about, how to be a brilliant farmer.
It is. And I think that people are going to be unbelievably transformed and blessed when they get a copy of this. Get a copy, get the paperback, post your gorgeous face with the paperback, tell your friends. Again, you can still get the Kindle free for the next couple days. I mean, eventually you'll have to pay for it, but it's worth 100 times the price if you really get a hold of these. And it's written so well. You're both excellent writers, and it's written in such a compelling, fun, approachable, you know, it like you guys like this, you're like, oh, well, do we need to prepare? I'm like, just, you guys are so adorable. Just be yourself, you know, just be yourself. And it's.
Well, I had my first Zoom call with Donna December 1st. It was supposed to be a 6-month process.
Yep.
And like on the 5th or the 7th, I sent her my first draft.
Yep.
And she said, oh, I'm only going to read it one time at the end. And then after we talked a little bit, then that night she said, I cheated. I'm reading your book for me to edit. And we just had a great time. And
a great time. She's got a whip and she's
I'm
whipping
tough.
you all the time, going
I'm
more.
All right,
more.
I'm tough. Yeah,
Huh?
I'm tough. And I tell you the truth too. So I was a little bit brutal, but you guys, you know why you're so successful is because you're teachable. Like I have people that I tell them, yeah, that title, no, that's dumb. And they like take it personally and their feelings are hurt. And you guys, I'm like, yeah, that title is terrible. You can't call your book that. You're like, oh, we can't? I'm like, no, you can't. Like, oh, okay. And you know, well, what should we call it? And so that teachability, that willingness to look, if I'm sewing into something because I see that they're where I want to go, then I need to listen to what they tell me.
That's right.
And it is amazing to me, you know, coming back to, you know, people that I'm trying to bring up where I am. And I'm praying right now, God, I need more people who are where I want to be. It's amazing. I would say probably 9 out of 10, they're not ready to receive what I'm trying to sow. And so again, is it good soil? This has just been so life-changing. This hour has been amazing. Everybody, guys, get the book. You can go to donnaparto.com/million. It will take you right to the page on Amazon where you can get your copy of Financial Success God's Way, Millionaire Secrets to Overflowing Wealth. They didn't start as millionaires. If you missed the beginning, I see a lot of people hopping on. You need to watch this from the beginning because this girl was homeless with 3 kids when this journey started for her. So you need to hear the whole story. And these principles work. I'm excited to implement them in my own life in 2021 and beyond. You can learn all about them at WeMakeMillionaires.tv. WeMakeMillionaires.tv. And hopefully, you know, when you guys, if at some point you want to add more teaching videos and stuff like that, you'll do that. But people can hop into your free Facebook group and be part of the 7-day Millionaire Challenge. And
at 8:00 p.m. it will be. At 8 o'clock Eastern Standard.
8 o'clock in the evening. You guys work for a living, people. You're going to have to be there at night. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. We got 1 minute to the top of the hour. God is so good. Final thoughts. Let's start with Judy, and John, you can wrap.
I say your inner kingdom becomes your outer kingdom. That's what my pastor Dave Williams, who is my miracle soil, We still give to him every month, and he hasn't been pastor in 6 years, and we'll take care of him till, the day he dies. He is our miracle soil, but he says your inner kingdom becomes your outer kingdom. So this 7-day class, what we're going to be doing is helping you with your inner kingdom, helping you get rid of that poverty mentality.
It's time to reinvest in ourselves. And to do that, we need to plant seed for it. When we can't stand over something and ask for a harvest that there's no seed in the ground for. So it's time that we put seed in the ground and start investing in ourselves, and we can get the harvest from it. No question. It's a biblical law.
The biblical law, investing where you want to go, sow where
Right.
you want to go, upward
So up to go up.
giving, upward sowing, sow up to go up. I've got it now. Sow up to go up. Your time, not just your money, your time, your energy,
That's
your
right.
heart, your focus. John, you just rocked my world. You rocked my world again in this hour. And I'm sure everyone's sow up to go up. You cannot always be sowing downward. Yes, we want to help the poor, let them glean from the edges, but your best sow up to go up. The Magi traipsed across the world to sow into
That's
the
right.
King. I've got it, guys.
King of
This has
Kings.
been amazing. I didn't want it to end, but we're at the top of the hour, and I think you just have blessed so many people, and I just can't wait to hear all the testimonies that are going to come in. Guys, share your testimonies. Come to the Facebook page. Look, talk about sewing. Go write a review for these guys. You love the book. Go to Amazon and write a wonderful review, and just
We would love that.
that.
We love reading them and seeing how, and your honest review.
Yeah,
Be
it's so
honest.
encouraging. Yeah.
And thank you so much for helping us. Thanks for not leaving us where we were. Thanks for getting out the whip.
Guys
was
are great
wonderful.
soil. The other thing is they had a prior book that was ranked at about 5 million, and it climbed 4 million in one day.
Yeah, it did.
We're bringing up the other. We're bringing up the other.
That's amazing.
We're just
You
getting,
got the Midas touch, Donna.
just getting started. I do know how to sell some books, that I know. Now I need to take those earnings from what God has gifted me to do and sow it into good soil and game changer. I love you guys so much.
We love
It's
you.
been amazing. God bless.
The other book is called Upward, somebody's asking.
Woo!
It's called Upward, and you have to actually Google Upward John O'Leary because it's so far down
So far
won't even
down in
come
the
up.
tank.
But it's got revelation, and you can go to davewilliams.com too. He sells it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's God's doing. You guys are just getting started. Love you guys. God
Thanks
bless.
so much. Goodbye.